Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Professionals. This is a rotating show that goes to each one of our channels, and this week it falls to me. And we're going to be talking about movie props and TV shows and movies that, if money was no object, what would we buy? What would we have to have for ourselves? So it's going to be a fun topic. I don't know if you guys heard, but my Facebook account got hacked into, and they suspended my account on Facebook. So I had to start all over. So that's what I was working on today. It was like I had to put the link to this thing in the Bros Messenger. Well, I was kicked out of Messenger too. So I had to recreate a new account. I had to have Andy put me into the group. Just so I could drop the links in there and everything. So those are the first ones I started. So it's been a headache, but here we are, and we'll get through it. We'll have a fun night. And let me introduce the first person, my first new Facebook friend, Mr. Andy Smith.
Hello.
Hello, Mr.
I know.
Smith.
I got
Nice
to be your
meet you
first
finally.
friend. I know. So happy.
I was scrambling, man. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta get certain things set up,
I know, dude. Oh, it just sucks, man, because their help just blows. You think that they could just, I get that they want to have good security and stuff, but you think they could just, over the phone or something over the phone, or something be like, look, let's just verify that it is legit whatever it is, your driver's license, whatever. And then once we do that, we can go in, the back door, whatever, and just go boop. And
I should be able to somehow prove I'm me and that I haven't done anything against the rules, or, I don't know. Crazy.
Yep.
But anyway, well, starting fresh, I found a way to get rid of 5,000 of my unclosest friends.
That's true. That's true.
So I'm a Mean or Leaner Facebook page now. So all right, let's bring in Mr. Mean and Lean himself, Aaron Lopresti. Hello, sir.
I'm very mean, not as lean as I used to be, but very mean. When those messages started rolling in this morning, and I say this morning because it was morning here, when my phone started dinging and you were like describing this whole thing, and I was like, holy crap. And then I saw Andy jumped in and I went, Andy will take care of it. And I went back to sleep. And sure enough, he did, didn't he? Didn't he take care of it?
That checks out.
Yep.
It does.
Oh, let's bring in the Ant-Man, if we will.
Oh.
What?
Is that Hank Pym or
he actually has movie props?
This thing is hard to eat in.
I bet.
There's no ventilation. This thing kind of sucks. I don't know how the actors do it, but it must have better ventilation. Yeah.
They shrink down the food so that it's super tiny, and then they can just suck it up.
Yeah, there you go.
My face is all red. I was only in that thing for like a minute.
Yeah, look at that. Damn, dude.
But anyways, how are all you guys doing?
Great.
Oh, just rocking.
Doing good now. Doing good
Yeah.
now. But I'm doing better. I'm going to do better now that Mr. Boom is here.
Yeah.
Boom.
What's up, gentlemen?
God, I just saw this guy. Now I got to see him again.
Yeah. But if Billy was here, you'd be saying the same shit.
Billy will be with us, chat. He had some family obligations tonight. So it's just the four of us?
Yeah.
Last time I checked, this is a family obligation. So just saying.
Well,
some of us have our priorities, and some of us not
Three
so
of these Ford Baldies are going to be in Jersey this weekend.
Yes.
Marcus Killigrew, buddy, that artwork I promised you is still in my portfolio. I just want to say you were supposed to grab that before the end of the show.
Are you stealing people's artwork, Dan?
No. I gave away artwork that they didn't take.
Oh,
big difference.
Yeah, well, Dan, bring it to Jersey, and I'll bring it back because he lives here.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
And if I think it's cool, I'll just tell him I lost it.
Is Aaron flying out for the con?
What's up, Joe?
No.
No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
Andy, Dan, me, Ethan, Cecil.
Yeah.
As soon as Aaron starts flying around to these shows, I'm gonna have to step it up.
Yeah, I gotta look at the
know.
guest list. The only other people I know about is the Simonsons and us. So I gotta.
Howard's
take a
going to
look.
be there. Howard Chaykin's going to be there.
Chicken? I always love that guy.
Yeah.
Good old Howard.
Yeah, I talked.
It's always
to
good for an
Heroes
insult and a
Con.
laugh.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, he's the best at that, though. You know,
Oh yeah.
he's
He's
the
good.
best.
My favorite thing is the first time I ever met him, I was introduced to him, and he goes, "Oh, you're the penciler on Time Masters. Yeah, it didn't suck." And then he walked
He said
away.
that's his first thing he said to me when I met him.
Yeah, that's his thing. He loves to do that. It didn't suck.
Is that his? Is that his, my boy?
I guess.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He learned from Gil Kane.
That's right.
It's funny, Art, because he came up to me, he goes, "So you're the guy drawing sludge, right?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "That stuff doesn't suck." That's exactly his first words to me.
Billy
That's weird.
and I walked up to
Funny.
his table in Garden State a couple of years ago, and we were, "Hey, Howard," and he looks up and he goes, "Oh, look, my two favorite sociopaths."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what he said about you guys when I talked to him at Heroes Con and said that, yeah, you're going to Garden State next week. He's like, yeah. And I said, I'll be there with a couple of our buddies, Tucci and Graham Nolan. And he wasn't quite as kind as saying you guys are sociopaths.
Oh wow.
It was a little harder than that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Because he wouldn't dare say it to my face.
that's right. You know, the best
I'm actually having
Howard,
dinner with him Sunday night.
Excellent.
the best Howard Chaykin story I have is I was at San Diego, and Shelley was with me, and she was teaching at high school at the time, and there was an art teacher that was a big comic book fan, and he made his first trip to Comic-Con. Of course, he was just blown away that, you know, Shelley was married to a comic book artist and all this kind of stuff. So we were going to dinner, and we're walking along the sidewalk there past the convention center in the Marriott, you know, that has this right next to the convention center with a big turnaround there. And there's a taxi cab pulling up to the light as we're crossing the street. And Howard hangs his head out the door and goes, Aaron, come here. And the guy, the teacher, a friend of Shelley's, he was like, that's Howard Chaykin. He's like, you know Howard Chaykin? I'm like, yeah, I know Howard. So I walked up there and we had this conversation while he's sitting there at the light. And then came back, and this guy was just blown away the whole rest of the evening. And I said, yeah, I might be able to get Art Adams to come to dinner with us. He's like, wow, you know.
So Andy, you got something to share with us before we get going into our topic, right?
Yeah, so last night on the Kings, a guy that works up AI stuff with our likenesses and whatnot, obviously worked up all the Kings as Kings. And I mean, he sent me the files through a Google share. I mean, there's
a different
there's
person?
over there's like 50 of each of us, but he did a lineup of us all. So if you share my screen, you'll see the lineup, and then I share. So this is the lineup, and then I've got it zoomed in so we can start.
At least we're in shape.
All right,
that's Malin. Oh yeah, I think you'll recognize that studly fellow.
How'd you get so short?
Right. Well, John's taller than me, not that much taller.
No,
but
he's not, is he?
Look at
Yeah.
Fraga, you're an action
John's taller than
figure.
me.
Look at that, man.
John's like
Fraga,
6'1", 6'2".
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, I think we know this guy.
Yeah,
There's
Yeah.
boom in that king.
that's right.
Dan, if you want to send you this, you can pin it up when you go to the gym so you have something to work forward.
I don't want to be that big, man. I just don't
Oh,
want to
everybody
be.
wants to be that big.
No,
Come
no.
on.
The thing is when I look in the mirror, I look like a Dr. Seuss character. You know, like the Grinch or one of those Who's. It's
Mhm.
that sort of long, stringy, long leg pear shape. I just want to like pull the pear part up into the shoulders and chest. That's all.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Let's see who's next. Oh, well, there's the main man.
There's Ethan.
He makes him like a foot taller than everybody else.
I like the God
reality is
halo
not
too.
true.
The sweet God halo. Ooh.
Yeah.
Is the ground uneven? I think the ground's uneven.
It better be, because I'm the tallest guy here, and me and Frag.
Well, hold on, let's
Hey,
see.
you guess what, Aaron?
Hold
on.
I mean,
second.
some are
Andy,
forward.
Andy,
Like I'm a little more forward than Malin.
Andy,
Dan and I are
second.
standing right next to each other. Ethan is a little behind. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
So
this you're short
surgery,
in this picture.
No, man. The surgery actually gave me some of my height back.
No kidding.
I'm not kidding. When I saw Marat in San Diego, I was this much shorter than him, and we took a picture in Heroes, and I was back neck and neck with him.
Well, we'll have to. You're going to be in San Diego this year?
Nah, man. I wish I was.
Going to say
but all that compression, all that was turning me like this. So now I'm like that.
Nice.
Dan, you know the problem is gaining that height somewhere. It has to take it from somewhere else. So
I know my
toes
are shorter.
Yeah.
So
there's Aaron.
I look pissed off, which is so appropriate.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Well, you just look like you're not going to take any more shit.
That's right. I'm done.
Yeah.
I've reached the limit.
Man, Billy's got quite the crown. That thing's
he looks good, but he also looks like he's got his eye on one of the ladies out in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, he's the tooch.
Is he got a scar on his cheek there? Is that what that is?
No, I think it's just his cheekbone coming in tight.
Oh, okay.
Fine definition.
Because on my screen, that's what it looks like. So
gotcha.
Let's see. Oh, there's Jimmy Reyes.
He looks good. Should have made Reyes tiny. My gosh,
he looks good. He looks like a Mayan or Aztec god.
It looks like him too. I mean,
yeah, it does.
Oh yeah.
These look like they could be action figures, you know?
They should have made him look like Puck, though. You know, that'd have been funny if they'd done
I know, that's what I said. I said, I hope Jimmy's, before we got the Jimmy's last night, because there's a video that's like 5 minutes long, and we didn't even watch the whole thing. And I was like, Jimmy, I hope when we get to Jimmy, he's about 3 feet tall, but he wasn't. That is
Baron. Look at Baron.
That's Mike Baron. He's looking good.
Yeah.
Looking quite seasoned, like he's seen some things.
Yeah.
Wise old Baron with a beard, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's seen some stuff, Sonny.
And then let's see. Oh, we know that
guy. Young Shane.
Looks so good.
Come back, Shane. Come back.
Looks so good.
Look at that hair.
Right?
Beautiful.
Oh, why did he give me hair? It's AI. Could have given me some flowing hair.
Yeah.
I know. And then there it is.
Graham looks like that anyway.
Why is
Graham's the only one that's representational. Graham, here's your Halloween costume.
The sign of beer.
You just got to wax your chest. That's all.
Incredible.
So those faces are AI generated too, right? They're not photos slapped on there.
So we were going back and forth in DMs. He was telling me the process and stuff. He grabs basically a lot of screenshots from our streams. So he's not just putting one photo in, he's putting multiples in for all of us. So even like, if the head's turned, just so it can really get a good, likeness.
Boy, that's a lot of work.
I was going to say, that is a lot of work, man.
Dude, it is a lot. 'Cause I thought it was something easy, right? Like, find this specific AI, just pop in a couple photos, Oh no, he just described. It took him like 8 hours to do this stuff.
Wow. But what would it take a oil painter or an acrylic painter to do that?
Yeah.
Hold on, I got to blow it back up.
Look at
Art. T-Bear. T-Bear.
There we go.
I like my horns.
Art looks like the court nerd or the accountant. The court accountant.
How dare you?
I think it's funny he put glasses on you. Like he
put glasses on Andy too. That's what
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had glasses on.
Oh, okay. I thought,
but it just comes from whatever he's on.
They didn't have glasses back then.
I know this
back then in this made up time.
This is obviously a cosplay event.
Oh, look at there's Dale.
Dale
looks pissed.
Yeah, Dale's
he does.
angry.
Yeah.
Don't mess with him.
Dale's like, why wasn't I buff? Why do I have full body armor? I could have been buff.
Andy, you had full body armor too.
Well, I know, but I don't care. I need it.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's everyone.
That's great.
So
that's funny, man. These would make pretty great action figures.
Yeah.
These are great, great like designs and stuff.
Yeah, the armor's pretty cool looking. Yeah.
That armor's badass.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to steal some of that.
Well,
Fraga's got a shield too. Like, look at that cool shield he's got.
Yeah.
It just needs a black flag logo on it, you know.
So let's see who. Let's just see. Let's look at this real fast. Hold on. 1 second here, guys. I'm trying to find. Here we go. Here's a good one of Fraga.
What is that? That looks pretty salacious. I'm throwing some Riz.
Look at those Liefeld shoulder pads, man. That better not lift your arm too high, man. You'll impale your temple.
Crack myself out.
Oh, here's another good one of Fraga. I'm telling you, there's like 50 of each of us. We're all in separate folders.
Yo, this actually gives me gym vibes. That I wouldn't mind having a neck like that.
Yeah, look at that.
You know,
where's all the? He's got to tat it up though, man. He's got to tat you up.
I got the good wrinkles going, which are accurate. That's great. Andy, you got to send me these. My wife, I can give them to the wife. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to say, I would say don't show them to your wife because the
expectations, right?
No.
The reality.
Yeah, I'll share the individual folders of all you guys with you if you want.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be great. They should do
but today we're talking about must-have movie props.
That's right.
Right?
That is correct.
Which is kind of crazy because I've always wanted the same one ever since I saw it. So,
well, let's start with you then.
Start with me.
Debbie does Dallas. What do you got?
No, it's
what would you get if you had all the money? There was no object for you, and you could buy any type of movie or TV prop that suits your fancy.
Oh, I thought it had to fit in the studio, but
no,
that's cool.
No.
Okay, because I'd want a whole movie studio, and then it's my studio. But
that's not a prop.
It is. It was in all the movies. So, hey, man, you know.
The one they used in Blazing Saddles, you'd get that studio?
I don't know. I think that's probably me saying yes would not be a good thing because.
No, it was the Warner Brothers Studios.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. No, I was thinking of like Pinewood or something. No, it would be quite simple. It'd probably be on a lot of people's lists, but the endoskeleton from Terminator, the first movie, you know, the Terminator skeleton, and if I was on a budget, I'd want the hand in the jar with the little Hershey's bar, you know, the chip,
the little chip,
yeah. That's it. I was just enamored. And
they used to sell those like replicas in the little
still do.
Little glass,
and they're very
glass
pricey.
cylinder.
They're very pricey. They're like $500 for the hand. You know, that's cool.
How big of a maquette were they using in that movie for that stop motion stuff? How big was that?
They have full size, like for Judgment Day, they had full size, like articulated. It wasn't stop motion. They were like puppets. You know.
No, they did do stop motion too.
In the first one. In the first
one, definitely. Yeah.
But and then if it was, you know, that big fat boy Harley that he rides in that movie, you know,
nice.
So that's mine. I mean, very simple. I'm a simple man.
All right.
Simple man with simple taste.
All right. What about you, Andy?
All right. Well, I thought I brought visuals because you know I like descriptions, but
sorry, man, I came unprepared.
You weren't prepared to go first. You're like, I'm last. I got time to get visuals, and then he hits you.
That's fine.
All right, so don't share it yet. So, you know, I'm a car guy, but a lot of the cars that most people think I would want, you see them on the street. Like you literally, it's the General Lee. Well, there it goes down the street because everybody has one or can get one. Same with Batmobiles and stuff. I've yet to see one of these rolling down the highway, so you can share it now.
But Oscar Mayer.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh,
and would you jump out of the door and with your legs spread forward?
Yeah.
Camera move around.
I do it once and then probably have to get some therapy for whatever I pulled. But yeah, I tried.
5.
Hell yeah, dude. I've got a replica. You know.
That is so cool. I would love that car.
Yeah, man.
That is cool.
And I want the blades on the front too for protesters.
Well, you know what I'm going to do, Andy? Andy, once you get yours, I'm going to get the what is the other car? His brother's car. What is that one called?
Oh, Racer X.
Racer X. Doesn't it have a name though? I thought all those cars had a name.
I don't know if somebody in the chat will probably know.
But yeah, I'd get that one. You and I could race.
I'd win because I'm the good guy and Racer X isn't.
Well, I'd let you win because I'm the brother and I'm overseeing and making sure that that everything's good for you.
Yeah.
Older brother that isn't Racer X the older brother that disappeared?
Yeah. I want to be Chim Chim, the little chimp.
You want to throw those Chim Chim cookies?
I got all kinds of cookies.
You can throw the poo at Art as he's behind me.
Did you see the Speed Racer movie, Andy? The live action?
Oh yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah. Hey, how about this? Yeah. I'm gonna quote.
I thought it was good.
I'm gonna quote that one movie.
Feel the cartoon. I mean, who was the guy that directed that? Because he directed some other.
It was the Wachowski brothers.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
Hey, have you guys ever seen Half Baked?
Yeah,
it's a drug movie, and it's got what's his face, Jon Stewart, and he'll always go, "Have you ever seen da da da? Have you seen it on weed?" So when I heard Graham said, "Have you seen Speed Racer?" I'm like, "Yeah," but have you seen it on weed?
Weed.
That thing's a color extravaganza, man.
It is. It's very psychedelic. It's very.
If you're
cool.
prone,
what's
to
weird?
seizures.
You know what's weird is that Pixar movie Cars came out the same time, and I'm like, if I grew up in that time, like I was the perfect age for all of that, I would have taken that Speed Racer movie hands down over that stupid Cars movie.
Oh, I know.
Cars becomes this market sensation, and they can't move the Speed Racer stuff, and I'm like, what? Yeah, that movie's 10 times better.
I didn't see it in the theater because I thought it looked like a video game, and I was like, I don't want to watch this. But it was on HBO one time, and I'm like, all right, I'll give that a try. And I was surprised how much I really enjoyed it.
It's very stylized, yeah. So it does look like a video game, but you get into the world because the characters are really strong.
That's it. Is you care about the characters, and he honors the characters from the cartoon.
Yeah, John Goodman's great, and even what's her name, the libtard that plays his mom.
Oh, dude, yes, but she's so freaking smoking, dude.
She aged well. She looks better now, I think, than she did in what was the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yeah, Thelma and Louise, man.
Susan Sarandon.
Yes,
Susan Sarandon, yeah.
All right.
Wait a minute. Speed Racer was one step above Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. Let's get
here we go. What? Here we go. Hey, Aaron, let's compliment. Let's do a neg on him and give him positive reinforcement. Aaron, can you move over like this? Look how that painting's coming along. It looks so fucking good.
Yeah, the green guy at the bottom is going to be done tonight. Then it's just Kit, and I'm finished. So,
amazing.
So wait, is the background totally done, or do you have little stuff to do to it?
Well, it depends on when she gets done. I'll see how it plays, and because most of this is going to get trimmed, like here, like 2 inches off each side are going to be gone when it prints. So it really isn't going to show that much. But yeah, I like this kind of. It's a yellowish tan, kind of a neutral. I like it with that red shock going through there. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. But it's all going to depend on when I get her finished.
And the blue in her uniform will contrast nicely with the yellow.
It should
complement.
Yeah. You know what I really thought was amazing about it when you posted, like you're posting the development, shots and stuff of it, is even though it's painted, heavily rendered, it still looks like your style. Like, I don't know how you do it. Like, you're painting everything. It looks like your pen and ink stuff. And I'm like, lot of times when you get more realistic and you paint things, you lose that kind of, ink comic book kind of style. And it's still there, man. It's so good looking.
Aaron thinks in 3D. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it's, I'm approaching this painting more like a drawing than I am, a broad brush stroke kind of, which I would like to get to at some point, but you do what you're comfortable with, right? I'm just basically doing a comic book drawing in color. So,
well, if you're going to do that, you need to start working bigger, because it'll demand it. Like if you want to start like throwing down color, get bigger brushes and start working bigger.
And start working your shoulders in the gym, because you're going to be up.
It is. It's starting to act up, man. My old
I've been doing some drawing exercises
war injury
just to get my my stuff back. And
you guys are getting old, man.
Hey, what can you do? What can you do?
Well, what about you, Art? I was thinking for you
don't even. I've already partake like over the years. Like I just buy stuff when I see it. Yeah. So this is a replica. So this isn't the actual Ant-Man. But I do have like the Batman cowl from Batman Returns. So it's not aging very well, but I do have that.
That's the hard part with that stuff. It's like when they make movie props, they're not making them for to last forever. They're making them to be shot and look good. So I bet you that Ant-Man helmet you have is probably made way better than the actual thing that was
right. But I was at the Warner Brothers archives, and they have one of these from this movie. And at the time, this was probably 10 years ago, this one was in better shape than the Warner Archives one.
Wow. What happened to the ears? How'd those break?
It's just deteriorating. Like the rubber just kind of turns to almost like ash. It'll crumble. Like if I just grab that thing, the elasticity's gone. So I could just crumble it into like ash. If I want
put it in like a vacuum, like a
I could. There's no point in it now, but this one aged better, and this one was in one of those cages or those display cases for a while. And
that's actually leather, though, isn't it, or is it not?
No, it's different than the bat cowl. It's made out of it's something like a pleather, but not quite. It's still molded, but it's a different type of rubber. So this one's pretty cool.
Does it smell like Michelle Pfeiffer's hair?
You should put it on.
It smells like angels, man.
So those are props that you have that you could afford to buy.
At the end of the day, yeah. I think the bat cowl's like $20K, and the Catwoman is like 15 at this point. But I'm still looking at these. So if you share my screen,
let's see.
Get this thing going here. Okay, so this is what I really would.
What?
I would do it, man. This is 191,000.
What?
This is a Batman replica fiberglass.
Didn't you almost buy the Batmobile once or something?
No, it was the Green Hornet car.
It was the Black Beauty, yeah.
Oh,
wait,
and that one was screen used.
I would say for less than they're asking, you could probably build your own, hire a crew for like $70,000. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Well, this one is a replica. This one's going for $299, and it really depends on like the engine and what you have, put on them, because they all come differently.
Wow.
Would you ever drive it if you actually bought it, though?
Yeah, I would.
On a very nice sunny day.
You know who has one of those is Doug Flutie.
Does he really?
Does he?
Yeah,
Really?
He's a huge Batman fan, and he retired down where he had grown up as a kid down in Melbourne Beach, Florida. He and I went to we were in the same gym class in junior high.
Are you kidding me? Seriously?
No, serious. Yeah.
He taught him everything he knows about passing.
And he's got one of these, and he drives it up and down A1A. south of Melbourne Beach, you know, like to various events that he does and softball games. A buddy of mine played against him in a softball game, and he pulls up in the Batmobile.
That's cool, man. I would do it, man. I would do it. There was, when I lived in Corona, California, somebody in the neighborhood owned one of these things, and I remember I go to the gas station, and I'm like, no way. There was a Batmobile gassing up at the gas station. And I was like, yes. And I think it was because that Burt Ward lived in the area where I did. And also that guy that played in the Beverly Hillbillies, the Jethro Bodine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He lived up the street.
Max Baer Jr.
Max Baer Jr. Yeah, he lived up the street too. Yeah, so I think somebody was probably hanging out with that Burt Ward and brought the Batmobile and they hung out or something. But some of them will actually have working flamethrowers.
Yeah,
really?
There's a video on YouTube of this guy who built one, and it's got the flamethrowers. It shoots the rockets. It's freaking amazing. Oh, it's got the parachutes. He even unloads the
parachutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is that cave. It's in the Hollywood Hills. Yeah, the Bat Cave.
Yeah.
You're not showing anything, right, Art? We're still looking at the main screen.
Oh, wait, hold on.
You didn't share the whole screen. You just shared your tab that was open.
Oh, hold on then. I'll come back.
When you said this one's 299, we're all looking at the other one going, no, it's not. It's 100. It's 1.9 million.
What's he talking about, man?
Whatever.
Well, let me see then. Is this the one?
You got to share entire screen.
How do I do that?
No, even if you share your tab, you go to the other tab, it'll give you the option if you want to share this one instead. So you can bounce back and forth from tab to tab.
So can you guys see this now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So there's some testimonials by different people that have bought one of these replicas. Just very, very cool. So you can get them for about $200,000 to $300,000 depending on what they're built with. Mm-hmm. And they're all fiberglass. And from what I understand, there was only one that was built based on the original Futura car, the Buick. And so there's only one metal version of the Batmobile anyway. So they're all fiberglass.
See, that top picture makes me sad. The one
that they used for the show was metal?
There's only one metal one, yeah. And so the rest of them were all fiberglass. So I think there were two built for the show. Okay. So there was, they call it the show car, which is for the close-ups. And that was probably the actual Futura car.
Yeah.
And there was a fiberglass one for like stunts or the road stuff. And then they built two other ones because it was so popular. They would do car shows. So they had an East Coast version and a West Coast version of the car. And they ended up doing the same thing with the Black Beauty with the Jeffrey, I forget the artist name that built that one. Because there was Chuck Barris, or was that his name?
Not Chuck Barris.
George Barris.
George Barris, yeah.
Chuck Barris was the
Gong Show guy.
And and then the other was the Black Beauty guy, and Dean Jeffries. Dean Jeffries is the Black Beauty guy.
Okay.
And I got the opportunity to buy that thing. I think it was $90K at the time, and it was just recently restored. So it was original screen used Black Beauty. So there were two of those. And man, I don't know what I would have done with it, but I could have had it. Wow. You know, I think that's the only thing that stopped me from buying it is I just didn't know what I would do with it. You know, just put it in the garage.
Yeah.
Collect dust.
I know what I would do with my round 2 choice.
Well, let's get to Aaron.
Yeah, I thought he did his already.
No.
Oh, he's just talking, complaining about Speed Racer. About Speed Racer.
I haven't seen Speed Racer. I was just joking.
Oh,
just a little levity. Just a little levity, Dan. That's all.
Go Speed Racer.
Go. I don't have one. I have like a million.
Well, we're going to do multiple rounds.
We'll do multiple ones. So, what would be the first one that you would buy?
Well, okay.
That's his dog. Shut that dog up.
Okay, now do you guys remember there was that big might have been 10 years ago now, Star Trek props movie auction that I think Heritage had.
Heritage did, yeah.
It was actually like a special on, I don't remember if it was on, you know, what channel ran it, but it was like a documentary type special on these guys that bought this stuff, you know, and ships from Star Trek 2 and all this kind of stuff. So now this is hanging in the Smithsonian, so I don't know how I would actually get it. You want to share that?
You know, you would buy it because remember, money is no option. Money talks.
That's right. So would, you know, maybe the Smithsonian would want some serious cash. So can you share that? There you go.
Oh.
So that is the restored actual Enterprise model.
Yep.
Wow, that is restored. That is primo.
And didn't you say earlier that's 11 feet? Is that how big that is?
11 feet.
So, yeah.
Holy shit. It's as big as a car.
Yeah, they had this show with the Star Trek auctions, and they didn't have this, but they had, like, you know, a lot of next gen stuff, which were really cool models, but didn't really mean much to me. But they had the Enterprise from Star Trek 2, and also the Reliant from Star Trek 2, and these were going for like 25 grand is all. But this was, you know, I'm sure they're way more than that now. But these guys that were buying them were like, I was like, are these guys not married? I mean, because they just look like average guys who'd saved every penny they'd ever made in their life so they could go to this auction and buy this stuff. But yeah, I'd have to get the Enterprise, man. I'd have to get the Enterprise.
That's cool. All right. Well, you know what? To dovetail into that, we would be down at the same auction, I think, you and I.
I know what Graham's going for.
I want the captain's chair.
Knew it. Oh, he's all about chairs, this guy.
Yeah. I would want to set this up in like a media room, you know, and just sit there, eat popcorn, and swivel in the chair, and you know, look like Captain Kirk, like a badass, you know.
Sandwiches, make it so.
Make it so. Give me a break.
I know. This is Kirk. This is Kirk.
And the whole point of this was came about because, and somebody said in the chat they wanted me to share this, so I'm going to do this. This is the chair that I just recently bought. It's a Thing chair, and it's a one of a kind that was made by a manufacturing company for a boat show. It's marine vinyl. That seat opens up, and there's like a cooler thing in there, or you can put cigars in there, whatever. And I saw it on a Facebook Fantastic Four page, and the guy, you know, talked about it, and, you know, but then months later, he mentioned in the same thing, you know, this thing really blew up my Facebook page, but I got to get rid of it. I'm downsizing my house. Does anybody, you know, would anybody want to buy it? I'm like, I'll take it.
I didn't even ask how much it was.
I want it. Yeah. And so we negotiated the price, and I thought it was relatively fair. And there we go. So that is now part of the Compass Comics studio, or will be once my son-in-law comes in.
That thing's killer, man. And you said it's like marine grade, like vinyl, so you could actually keep that thing outside if you wanted to, and it wouldn't rot or crack or any of that stuff.
It would probably fade the colors eventually, you know, because like when I had a boat, you know, I know that like the seating and stuff, the colors would change with all that UV sun on it. So I want to avoid that. It's not super comfortable to sit in, you know. It's like,
you know, it's
right. I mean, somebody asked me, it might have been Dan, who said, "Is it comfy?" I said, "It's comfy enough for a cigar, but it's not comfy enough to watch Lord of the Rings in."
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's a good place for your comic books to hang out.
Yeah, exactly. And you notice I picked Fantastic Four 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was no accident.
Yeah. Take care of those.
I don't know if the camera I have, it's not quite a Star Trek, but let me see. I got the camera. So I wait, my little Art,
is that the Land of Imagination up on the upper left?
What's that?
The Land of Imagination above your chair. Yo, that. What is that map?
It's Disneyland from 1976.
Okay.
So I got this, they called this the Captain Kirk chair. So it swivels and it does all the Captain Kirk, but it's probably way more comfortable than the movie prop would be.
Some green hotties would make it even more chairier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would. It's cool to be a geek.
Now,
yeah, there's those things that just set you off, you know, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff I could care less about, you know, especially the older I get, you know, I want to get rid of stuff, you know, not collect
Right.
more.
It's like, let's clear this stuff out of here. We got too much junk.
Yeah.
I got the whole upstairs, Graham. So I'm like, I got to fill this place up. So I'm more like, I got to spend some money.
Send a truck over. I'll load some stuff up for you.
Yeah,
oh,
right.
great.
Sort of
You're not
junk
getting
that
my
you don't
thing.
want, but
I'll take it.
So what else for you, Andy?
I'm
what
going
else?
back to another vehicle. One people probably wouldn't expect again, but I would ride it down the road. Oh, hell yeah, I would. Ever since I saw the movie way back, I was like, I know it doesn't actually hover, but I don't care because I always thought it was super cool. Oh yeah, little land speeder action.
Oh,
right.
I like that
From
original
franchise
design.
that they just killed.
Yeah, I like it all beat the shit like it is and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is that screen used or is that a replica?
I don't even know. I just Google search land speeder and, you know.
I don't think you could. Well, money's not a price, but the original would probably be worth a fortune if it still exists.
Right.
Probably
Yeah,
goes all at
exactly.
15 miles an hour. You know?
Yeah. But it's only a 2-seater, so I get to be picky with who goes for the ride.
That's
Well, you
right.
can stick your droid on the back part there.
That's right. You have to get one of those C-3PO things you see at conventions all the time. Those remote control, not
Yeah.
C-3PO, R2-D2s.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I always it's just one of those ones that's always stuck with me when I saw it on the screen. And I still think it looks cool for being, you know, almost 50 years old. So
It's a
That's
great
the actual
design.
one right there. That's
What's
the
that?
actual prop from the movie right there.
no, I have no idea.
Oh.
I Google searched, image searched, and I was trying to find the actual one, but I don't know. This is the closest
Yeah.
I could find.
You know what's amazing
least
about
it was-
a lot of these props is like they look great on screen, but then when you see them in real life, you're like, damn, this thing's kind of shitty looking. you
Yeah.
know? Like you think it's got like these guns type things that you see in these shows, sci-fi things, and then you look at it and you're like, it's a piece of wood, you know.
Yeah.
And it
Oh yeah.
the details look so much better on the screen, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
just a
It's that
piece-
screen magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
That's cool.
So-
though. Yeah.
There you go.
All
Booyah.
right, okay, all right, Dan.
Well, you guys ever see the El Mariachi movies?
Yes.
No.
Familiar with them.
Yeah, well, the first one, he's got like a guitar case where he shoots. But in the second one, there's like a really cool guitar case. Let me share my screen. If you want to share this real quick, we're gonna see it. So this is the prop I want from Desperado.
You want the
Oh,
lady?
you want her clothes?
No, this
Selma
Oh,
Hayek.
yeah.
Salma Hayek, my friend.
Yeah. That's
She's
what
not
you
a
want from
prop.
the
She's a
movie?
person, Dan, you misogynist.
What? Dude, she propped that movie up. You know how many times I saw it just for her? What are you talking about? Yeah, that's that. If money was no object.
Oh, hey,
That's right.
That's right.
Your marriage might be a problem, but
No,
I respect that.
We
though. I
have that
respect
little
that.
list. We have that little list of yeah rights.
Oh, okay.
That's only
No,
happened
all right.
once. I was married once before, and in the early 2000s, and one of my I guess it was on Friends. You know, you have a list of people, celebrities that you could get a pass with, and on my list was, well, she's a nutbag now, but Alyssa Milano. at the time, you know, she was super
Oh
cute.
yeah, she was cute back in the day. But
yeah, well, one night I was at a party where she was there, and I was like, "Hey, Alyssa Milano's at this party."
Really?
Oh yeah, but that all the fun and games went out the door. Like you better not, you know, not like that. It would happen, but yeah.
Right.
You just go up to her and like, "Hey, baby, who's the boss now?"
Yeah. But no, Salma Hayek, Mount Rushmore, bro, for real.
Oh yeah, Salma Hayek. Oh my god,
she walked out of a Frazetta painting, as far as you know, I'm concerned.
And what's the movie where she's it's like George Clooney's in it.
From
Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
That's a really good movie too.
It is when she's in it. Yeah.
The only time I ever wished I was a snake. The only time.
Hey, Greenwood Enterprises for $5. Super Chat, good times hanging out at Heroes Con. A prop would certainly enjoy is 1980 Ornella Moody Princess Aurora. Billy isn't here with the bell. Damn it.
It was good seeing Mr. Griever again.
Yeah, of course. It was wonderful seeing him. Heck yeah. I love Heroes. It was such a good time. I'm looking forward to Jersey as well. Just seeing people and you know, faces behind the names and stuff. It's really awesome.
So Aaron.
Well, okay, this is kind of a longer story, but I got to show you one thing that leads to the other thing. Okay. This isn't the exact one, but you'll get the idea. So I'm at San Diego, and they had this auction house. It wasn't Heritage, but it was another auction house. And they had all these movie props, just like we're talking about, right? And one of the ones I saw there was this. Not this exact. Yeah, share it. Yeah. Okay. Not exactly this one, but they had an actual Pepe from the Muppets for sale in this auction that was coming up. And you wouldn't think that, oh, I don't want a Pepe until you saw it. Then you were like, oh my gosh, I gotta have this. And of course, I mean, it's way out of my range, but so that was the first thing I saw that kind of like made my list. Like, but if I saw any of those, like if you saw Gonzo or something, you'd probably want that too, you know? But this, as I was looking at the props and stuff, they had this big, gigantic thing behind the counter, and apparently these were made for display in theater lobbies. Now this isn't the exact one because I couldn't find it, but you'll get the idea. They had life-size Jurassic Park T-Rex bust, so it was like the head and then like the neck and the two front legs, you know, two front arms, and then it would cut off. And it was actual size, like this size. And they were apparently for like special display they made like, I don't know, 50 of them or something like that went to certain theaters, you know, for the Jurassic Park premieres. And oh my gosh, I can't imagine what it ended up going for. I think the guy told me that it was like estimated $500,000, something like that. I can't remember. It was really a lot. But can you imagine like a full-size T-Rex bust? You just kind of, let's see, I can find room for that in my studio someplace.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so they had one of these up for auction. I'd have no idea what it ended up going for, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
So,
all right, that's cool.
So that's we got another round.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll save the other one then for later. But yeah, so that
I might have to find another one because my Batmobile got stolen. So.
Well, knew it. You know, I would say the actual T-Rex they made for the movie, but you know, like much like Art's masks, that thing's got to be falling apart by now if it's not already disintegrated.
Sure.
That foam latex does not last long. So
right. It was like the King Kong. I don't know if you've ever seen the King Kong armature. You know, that survives.
Right.
Bob Burns owns it, but the rubber and the felt or the fur and everything, that's completely disintegrated now. So it's basically Kong's skeleton, and it is so cool. It is so cool. You can move it and it stays. You know, even today, you know, you can move everything around and it stays. It's, I mean, that was built really, really well.
Back in the day, hey, back when they built stuff to last.
Yeah. All right, Art, what's your round two?
I'm looking. I'm at this prop store now. I'll spend some time and find.
And Art's got his credit card out.
This is like
he's ready to go, man.
For me. But there's one thing. Like in the day, I was into cowls, helmets, masks, things like that. So that was kind of my thing, because you could kind of display them and they look cool on a shelf and things like that, helmets and stuff. And then my other was like weapons. But the only thing I really had access to in the day were like stunt weapons. But there was the one that got away, and it was a firing pulse rifle from Aliens. And so it was working, and the grenade launcher, it actually functioned. And that's the one that got away, because I was still kind of in my helmet phase. I'm like, if I have money, I'm going to keep buying, you know, these things. And that's the one I was like, oh my gosh, that would have been so cool. But since it's just we're just like wishful thinking now, and money is no object. Exactly. I still like weapons and things like that. So there's this one right here. I'm screen sharing. Hopefully I'm doing this right.
You got it.
And this thing is 259,540. This is screen used by Chris Evans for the Captain America movies. Which one? It should say for that price. Captain America Hero Prop. Yeah, Hero Prop Shield created by Marvel. Senior Prop Master Russell Bobbitt. And used by Chris Evans for close-ups in 2019's film The Avengers Endgame. The prop sold for $259,540, the highest price ever paid at auction for a Marvel movie prop. So the thing is about these shields and stuff is you can put those up on your wall and they look so freaking cool. But I wouldn't want one of those phony baloney ones, those replicas. I want the real deal, man. So yeah, this would be badass to have, and it goes into more detail and stuff like that about it. But I don't think it says what it's made out of, though.
It almost looks aluminum.
Yeah, it does. But you know they can do that with like plastic. It's like laminated or whatever. Like they can treat that stuff, but it doesn't say what it's made out of. And that's always the cool thing about seeing these props firsthand. Is you get to see what they're made out of. So sometimes it's like a light fiberglass, you know, with some kind of like a metallic finish over it, stuff like that. But since this was kind of a close-up shield, it might be more substantial, you know, because one of the things is you don't want to give those guys too much of a lightweight prop, because they move it like it's substantial, you know, like it has weight to it. And so I would want this thing. I still want this thing. So yeah, 250. So money is no object. That's what I want. Anybody listening? So my birthday is in October. So you know what I want. So wrap it up, send it my way.
And if you can't get that for Art, you can get him the Dirk Diggler stunt penis that Mark Wahlberg wore.
Yeah.
That.
Oh yeah, I'm a big shiny star, a big bright star, and then he whips it out.
The thing is, like there would be like the knife in Big Trouble in Little China, but I know that's just like a normal knife. Like there's stuff that I would want just because I like the movie, but I know that there's nothing special about it. You know, like a lot of like the dirty, hairy weapons and stuff. I mean, a lot of that stuff is pretty normal.
Yeah, it's just a 44 Magnum, you know, it's nothing different about it.
But like you get into
Dave Lopan's. What about Dave Lopan's wheelchair?
Now that would be
From
You
Big
would
Trouble?
put on this earth to get it, Mr. Burton.
Yeah, I gotta watch that movie again. I love that movie so much.
I would want his headdress, actually. Oh, shit. I'd want
yeah.
that headdress. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of headdress, my next choice is something that just it couldn't exist, but it existed in a moment of time. But you know, since this is fantasy and money's no object, this is what I would want: Boris Karloff's headpiece,
Oh yeah.
Frankenstein.
Mm.
Now, Jack Pierce built that up individually each time.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't have what's the rubber that they make?
The foam latex.
Well, yeah, they
Latex,
didn't have
foam
the latex back then for that. So he would build all that stuff with cotton, like this browse, like cotton and collodium and spirit gum, and you know, and then he just works his magic on it every time, you know. But that would be so cool to be able to have and say, wow, that's the head of Frankenstein from
Yes.
You know what's really weird is there's this company, I keep getting this shit on Facebook where it's like, own a brick from the cavern that the Beatles played at.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
You know, and I'm sure somewhere there's like, own a cluster of cotton from Boris Karloff's.
There will be tomorrow.
It's gotta have some green grease paint on it or something.
Yeah.
You know? So that it looks real. But yeah, that would be really cool. Any of those, like the one that actually was a latex mask was the Creature from the Black Lagoon. That exists.
Is that costume still around?
I was just saying the whole costume's got to be around still.
Pretty. It's like art's thing, you know. It's you know, pretty beat up looking, you know. But you know, the Millicent Patrick design on that head was just so iconic and cool.
That's actually, it was on my list. If
it
still existed, I don't know if it still existed though. So
yeah, I think it does. But because I thought I saw it in a heritage auction once. Let's look it up and see.
That'd be cool. The whole costume. I mean, it's got to be somewhere. Just like you said, falling apart probably. But
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
No, that's not it.
Some person is right. He says, I want a little head from Frankenstein, Graham.
That's a quote. That's a quote.
Here it is. Yeah, that's it. Okay, here we go.
all right. Oh,
Yeah, it's a little ragged down here.
Oh, it's creepier looking.
It's still hanging
Yeah.
in there though.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Look at that.
These are replicas here, you know, but
I don't want that red lip paint on it. It was a black and white movie. Why are they putting red lip paint on it?
I never understood
the costume had it.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, you can see it here.
Oh, okay. 'Cause it looks like he's a she or you know what I'm
well,
saying.
in black and white, it darkens that area up more. I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
Yeah.
That film's like black, you know.
Was it this show that we were doing where we were talking about old school effects where they used a filter to change someone's makeup from red to green, but it was a black and white movie and it
Right.
aged her? That
Yeah.
was us. Yeah.
Well,
it was a good
yeah,
time.
Ruben Mamoulian did that in Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was also another movie I just recently heard of. I never seen it before. It was like some B kind of film. And this woman is talking and it's like a mystery type thing. And she's a witch. And they did the same thing. She's like, you know, kind of an old lady. and
That's
she's
the one
talking-
I've seen. That's the one
Oh,
I've seen.
okay. And
Yeah.
she's talking to these guys, and then all of a sudden they throw that filter on, and then she like gets like this real
Yes.
ugly, witchy looking thing.
Yes.
That was really cool for a shitty
Yeah.
movie. That was really cool.
Yeah, in camera and everything, though.
Yeah.
Like these guys
Right
were
in front of you.
scientists. These guys were scientists. That's what, computer stuff is cool, but like practical is what we're talking about.
Dude.
We're talking about, unless, I mean, you got purist directors that, you know, really want, even though they have a budget for a CG, try to push as hard as they can for practical, because it just lives, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, practical, even with stuff with wire work and stuff, practical, you just CG out those wires, look so much better and stuff.
Like, was it you, Art, that said you want a little heft to that shield? Because otherwise, you know, obviously they're a superhero, but you want the guff.
Well, that's what they said with like Thor's hammer is, you know, there's heft to it. So when Hemsworth picks it up, it's not super hard, but it's still, you know, it shows the strain on his arm and stuff.
Yeah,
you
I can imagine
that stuff. Yeah.
See, I thought in the Thor movies the hammer did look light to me.
Well,
I'm sure
Hemsworth
at
is
times
huge.
it was. They have different ones, but I think for like close-ups and stuff, they probably had the weighted hammer, and then for the stunts and just, you know, normal.
Right, it's probably a real light when he was swinging it and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
None of that shit's real. That guy, there's no real Thor. That guy.
What?
You mean Chris Hemsworth
bastard.
can't call the lightning down?
Oh,
God, you son of a bitch.
I
I'm
guess
sorry.
that means he didn't drink
So
all that beer
disappointing.
either and got fat.
That would be the prop to get, is that fat.
Yeah, I want his fat belly.
Maybe that's
right.
what I should be for Halloween and not have to work hard.
Oh, actually, you know who I want? I didn't think about it. It just came to me. I brought that thing up with Peppy, but who's the little guy on Jabba the Hutt? The guy who goes,
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
That'd be good.
You know what I just think it'd be really cool to have is the Mjolnir prop from Thor, and you glue it to your floor in your living room. And then, you know, you have your friends come over for cocktails and stuff and see if they're worthy of the power of Thor. And
it's like that prop, like quarter that's got a nail on it. You hammer it into the floor to see how many people try to pick it up.
Yeah.
You know,
And then they try to get it up and they can't.
At Disneyland, they have the Sword and the Stone, and they basically have like a lock mechanism, so you can't yank it. But then they have a whole presentation where they bring a little kid out and they, you know, take the lock off, and the kid's able to pull it out. And, you know, oh my God, I'm pulling the cord.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh,
My friend Mike Smithson, I got to say his name because he won an Academy Award for it. He designed the fat suit for Fat Bastard. He designed the whole character, and he did the Cat in the Hat makeup as well. Designed and did that. He's like,
oh wow,
that Mike, what's his name?
Mike Myers.
Mike Myers, yeah. He was a roommate of mine, and he was working when we were roommates. He was working on Gremlins. And so we had those rubber gremlins just out of the mold, just like foam. they weren't painted or anything, and we used to just throw them around at each other in the
Oh my
God! They're about this big, man.
That stuff's expensive.
You're talking about the Gremlin version, not the Mogwai version. You're talking
not the well, he had those too, but these were the Gremlin ones, the ugly, wiry looking ones, and they all had air bubbles and stuff, so they weren't able to use them, so they were like rejects. So he.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Until they disintegrated. We threw them around until they.
Doesn't anybody want the remains of Old Yeller? You know, the dog that played Old Yeller. Just get the remains.
Yeah.
No, just me. Okay.
No, not just you.
That's kind of a Michael Jackson kind of thing, isn't it?
I
want Michael Jackson's Old Yeller remains.
You want Michael Jackson?
You want to dig him up and molest him?
You know, his face still looks the same. None of that was real, so I'm sure that looks the same.
They actually cremated and melted him down into Legos so kids could play with his little parts.
I've been sitting on that joke. That was
man.
We need Billy.
It reminds me of the. Here's the thing. I love Michael Jackson, and I actually do think he's innocent. But I love jokes. You know, like when his hair caught on fire. You know, with the Pepsi ad. You know what he had. You know what he had in common with Pepsi. He too came in little cans. But
Not cool.
I love Michael Jackson.
You know what, Dan? Have another sip of Jesus juice.
I was gonna say, you think he's innocent? How could you even make that joke?
Oh, because I like humor, man. Don't you be tender tushied. Come on.
Yeah, he'll fill your can.
And besides, Dan, he didn't come into the little cans. He spilled over top of them.
Oh my God.
All right, we're moving on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm going to show you the King
that's
Kong
an
armature.
armature.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Yeah, this is the real deal right there, you know.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I saw this at a Monster Bash in Pennsylvania back in the late 90s.
That must
Bob
be
Burns was
cool.
there and he brought it. And he let everybody, you know, you could move it and touch it because it's so solid. It's all steel, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let me see if this thing. Here we go.
Wow.
It's not going bigger. There we go. I
Wow!
guess we
So
can
that's
figure
all
it
that's left of it, huh? Because the rest was like you said, just was it like foam? I guess for the anatomy
yeah,
and
some
whatnot.
type of foam with I think it was yak fur or something.
I'd love to know how those each of those pivots work, like how they switch and lock, you know, because they had to move but also not fall down.
Mhm.
You know, like probably like a ratchet lock type system or something. I don't know.
No, that
I'd
was
love
just
to see it.
tension. It was tension.
I was
on the
just going to
joint
say, I
was
bet it
hard
was
enough.
just really the tension on it was really hard. So when you bent it, it just stayed.
It stayed, yeah.
Wow.
And the skull is custom made. You know, obviously, you know, you can see the teeth on it and everything. It's so cool.
Wow.
22 inches. So it's all right. That's
Yeah.
cool.
It's big.
Yeah, isn't it
Damn.
neat?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I used to have but again, you guys aren't really next gen guys, but I had one of those tricorder things, you know, it's like a little cylinder. You know what I'm talking about. Don't hate on next gen.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't believe these two schmoes up there didn't jump in.
Yeah.
What's next gen? I'm familiar with the original series, but that's
I mean, Star Trek ended in '69, so I don't know
exactly. I don't know what you're
Guys,
talking about.
okay, listen. I'm a Star Trek guy. I love the original. The very first convention I ever went to was WonderCon 1988, and they had a panel there.
I was there.
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember the Star Trek Next Gen panel? Did you go?
Why would I have gone? That was a non-panel.
No, dude. It had all the actors, and I went and I was like, "What is this?" And I didn't want to see it. But man, Next Gen's really good, man.
It got better, you know. Once it got to the second season, it got better because
the Borg.
Gene, that's the
Borg
part.
is cool.
That's where it turns.
One thing.
Q's awesome.
Well,
you know, some of
Q was just Verlaine grown up.
Yeah.
Damn.
You know what the thing that we talked about this on our on the landing party, Graham's landing party show, but the lighting in the original Trek was film lighting, and it had such depth and it was so interesting looking. Next Gen, like most television shows, have this flat, you know, bright lighting. There's no character. There's nothing interesting. It's just like you're in your living room, you know, kind of thing. And I just, and that's kind of what, that's the one thing that drove me nuts about a lot of Spielberg's films, like Raiders. It's like that cave at the opening scene is so well lit. It drives me nuts.
Right.
Right.
It was like, put some atmospheric lighting in there, make it creepy, and you know, give me some artistic lighting.
You hate Spielberg?
No, I love Spielberg. No,
Evan Gassell and Frankenstein. He hates that too.
Yeah, I do. I do hate that. There's some
He
good.
does hate that. Well, here's one. What about this one? Speaking about stop motion stuff, this is one I wouldn't mind owning. It's a still from the movie, but you'll there you go.
Talos.
Talos, yeah. I wouldn't mind owning that. I think that'd be pretty cool to have.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that thing is you just have the skeleton because there's no way that rubber held up.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
true with most of his stuff. Harryhausen stuff. There is still some that, like the skeletons, some of those skeletons still exist.
What about the owl?
Oh, the skeletal warriors? Oh my god. Yeah, those things are so cool. You know what? Like my wife and I were talking about, like it was a, oh my gosh, who did it? DreamWorks did that cartoon, the Sinbad cartoon. And I was like, how do you mess up a Sinbad cartoon? You know, like there's so much of the Harryhausen stuff, and it's all just pure adventure. And they screwed that cartoon up so bad. I was like, it's a cartoon, you could do anything. You're not limited to any kind of physicality or anything. You could do whatever you want. And they turned in like a lame Brad Pitt Sinbad. Did you guys see that cartoon? It was so bad.
No.
It was beautifully animated, but it was so bad.
Yeah, so that was a DreamWorks feature film?
Yeah, it was DreamWorks. Yeah, with Brad Pitt and Michelle.
It was animated.
Yeah.
Did that come out like right after Roger Rabbit, or was that before Roger Rabbit?
This is like 2000.
Wasn't that a Ralph Bakshi thing?
No, that's Richard
DreamWorks.
Williams. Richard Williams did Roger Rabbit.
That movie.
What was the name of the Brad Pitt movie you're talking about?
Sinbad.
It's Sinbad something.
No. I was thinking you were talking about that Brad. I don't know where that came from. The Brad Pitt movie. Remember, it was partially animated and he was in it. It was called Cool World. That's what I was.
I got friends that worked on the animation on that. That's fun.
Was that Bakshi, Cool World?
I don't know who it was. It seemed like
it might have been Bakshi.
Yeah.
Talk about getting off the freeway. Sorry about that.
Hey, if you want to talk, if animation is props, some animation sells.
Absolutely, animation.
That would count.
The fact that they treated them, they washed them off and threw things away. My favorite Disney movie, not on a story level, but on just simply a craft level, like holy shit, these guys did this and they did it almost 100 years ago, is Pinocchio.
Yes.
The shaking cage in the back of Stromboli's thing and Pinocchio holding on, and somebody's mind had to figure all that out. And those backgrounds.
There's that multiplane.
I think Pinocchio is probably the finest hand-drawn cartoon ever done.
That's right.
Yeah, that multiplane intro where that camera just keeps closing in and in on that village, and you realize that those are all like cells that camera is kind of passing through.
Did any of you guys ever work at Disney? Go work there?
Yeah,
I've been there. I've
been portfolio.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to the Frank G. Wells building? You see they have the multiplane camera.
They have the multiplane.
It's in the lobby, but it's like 2 stories tall.
It's huge,
Because to do that, they multiple sheets of glass that they would just move that camera through. Like what would you say?
They built that thing. Yeah, it didn't exist before that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't Fleischer develop that? Wasn't the Fleischer brothers the ones who developed that multiplane camera at first?
Disney gets the credit for it. They might have.
Okay. Well, maybe it was rotoscoping that they developed. It was some technique. Is either
Disney prided themselves on not rotoscoping. Like they would take video, or not video, but they would film the actors doing things and dancing and doing whatever, and then the animators would study it and then draw. They probably broke it down frame by frame and drew it in the on character, on model, frame by frame. But I don't think they rotoscoped, at least in the day. Disney.
Graham
They did.
Have you seen the John Carter?
Oh, they didn't.
Was that Tex? Not Tex. I don't know if they proposed a John Carter cartoon back in the late 30s. I don't know if it was Fleischer did it or help me out. Who's the real famous animator before Chuck Jones? Like not Tex Avery, but Clampett.
Oh, Bob Clampett.
It was either Clampett did it or the Fleischer did it, but it was they were doing John Carter of Mars, and you got to look at it. I think it's on YouTube. And it's like they did just like a short sequence, to try and sell it.
I've seen that, yeah.
And I think that's rotoscoped. And I think that's where they talked about, that's where they developed rotoscoping. I could be wrong, but that sounds right to me, because I'm pretty sure that John Carter thing was rotoscoped. But
you think it's Bob Clampett? I'm looking it up now.
I'm thinking it was Clampett. It might have been Fleischer, but I think it was Clampett. Schoolmaster says Fleischer did the rotoscoping.
Pioneers. That's one of the things, we were talking. There were a few of few fellas at Heroes. They work for Ubisoft, and they were 54, 55 years old, kind of our age range, and we were just talking about one of the topics we talk about sort of straddling the what was to what is. Like, we all learned those old ways of letraset and rub on lettering and zipatone and hand cutting lacquer and things like that.
Yeah.
And then
Ruby
and then
lift.
yeah, and Ruby hand cut Ruby lift for color steps. And then we're doing stuff on Macintosh. I think sometimes that the ease of use of a lot of these things, like the idea of a multi-plane camera, is so easy. It's called 2.5D, and you could do it on your phone now. You put photo in front of a photo, and you can do it. And everybody, it's like a push button thing. Oh, big whoop! But when you think about the minds it took to create that stuff, like I said, almost a century ago, pre-internet, practically pre-telephone, calling each other and communicating. These were people that really put thought into this shit.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like I went to one of these prop like museum things. It was a touring thing, and they had like the original script from Gone with the Wind, and they showed like telegraphs. Like you don't realize how old this stuff is. Like these were telegraphs that were being sent to each other. It's all documented, blah blah blah, stop, dot dot, blah, blah, stop. Like it's got all that stuff in it. It's like, it's crazy because you still think of it like, well, it wasn't that long ago. It was, and it was fairly independent. It was a fairly independent feature as well. I think it had distribution, but I think it was an independent venture, because there's also those kind of things with like the money people, blah blah blah, stop, blah blah blah, send money, blah blah blah, stop.
Yeah,
it just cracked me up. But I found that John Carter, the Bob Clampett stuff. You were right. You want me to
let's see it?
Share it.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was Clampett. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was Clampett. So you guys see this?
Yep. 1936.
So
Clampett approached
1936.
Edgar Rice Burroughs of Tarzan fame about creating theatrical shorts based on John Carter of Mars. Clampett and Burroughs' son John Coleman. Oh yeah, John Coleman used to do some cover paintings for Tarzan.
So they got some behind the scenes of them like filming the animators. It's look, there's a Donald Duck on the guy's desk.
Oh yeah.
So they were
Come on, we all know that's your hand art.
Can you imagine a John Carter serialized cartoon?
Oh, look at that roto. And what year did they say this was? 36?
36.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
That is so freaking cool.
They definitely used roto in Snow White.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
They swear they didn't though, but you can kind of see it.
Yeah,
you can tell the movements are too natural, especially for, they don't use it obviously on the cartoony characters, but for the live characters, the full-size figures, you could tell they're rotoscoping to get that that natural fluidity that the human eye can discern.
Oh man, I wish they'd done this. Why don't they do one now? Do an animated John Carter.
This almost looks like Fantastic Planet.
And there's the Thark with riding a.
It's really bad quality, but
I mean, this is almost 100 years old.
That's like Tarzan, though. What is this?
I know. That's what it reminded me of.
Things to
Tarzan from the 70s.
Mars.
The gods of Mars, the mastermind of Mars.
These guys had wishful thinking all up and down.
Yep.
Look at all these movies we'll make.
This is so Kid Carter, man.
There you go. There's the inspiration.
Then incomparably exotic.
Skin is tinged the color of reddish copper.
A hero can leap 20 feet into the air with ease. Now remember, Superman hasn't come out yet.
Right.
That's right. That's right. The Phantom of Lothar. Oh my gosh.
So I think that's it.
Yeah.
But,
that's cool.
That's really
yeah.
neat.
I had seen that years ago. I think there's one where there's more, right, Aaron? Like there's one where it has one of the Martians, like the four-armed Martian character.
Well, he was right. That was that dark scene where he's riding that horse. We couldn't hardly really see what it was.
Where he's standing up and he's got swords and stuff. I'm not sure though.
Maybe. I remember this. This is the one that I've seen.
Okay.
I can't remember if there was another one or not.
When I was looking, it seemed like there was another production, like a more modern production, but
I don't know why
I didn't click on it.
I guess the same reason they figured it bombed just like the movie did, but
the movie was like, just there's so many books. Narrow it down to something, like a 2-hour narrative. These guys get too crazy with this stuff. Like there's just too much going on.
What would you say is was that their biggest faux pas, is trying to cram everything in
on that movie?
That movie,
no,
because I just didn't
so.
care. I didn't care about any of them.
That's exactly it. Is that first off, the title, it could have been a story about accountants.
Yeah.
There's no indication that this is a fantasy tale because it's just called John Carter. Who gives a shit? And then when we first meet John Carter, he's a fuck up. He's a goofball. And he's a goofball through the whole damn movie. All he does is leap around. He never once does anything really cool in the whole movie.
You know what the coolest part of that movie was? That whole where he faked his death or whatever, like the real world stuff, like the Earth stuff.
At the very end
stuff in the movie, that and the gladiatorial. Like Hollywood always does those gladiatorial scenes good. Like I very rarely have seen one of those things go bad, but that was like one of the best scenes too. I think like the actor kind of looked okay, but he was real flat. You didn't care about him. He had
no charisma. Here's the thing. I actually liked the movie a lot, but then I'm a John Carter apologist, so I don't know if my views could be trusted on this movie, but I really liked it. But the problem is that was originally supposed to be Hugh Jackman, but it took him so long to get it off the ground. He was too old to do what they thought. But if he had been the lead in that movie, it'd have been a whole nother movie.
That's
wow. I didn't know that.
He would have had more charisma for sure.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
if he still played the character the same way, like that dopey scene where he's fighting to get away, and then he gets punched and knocked out, and then he gets up and he gets punched and he gets knocked out. And they're doing it for laughs. But all it does is it takes the heroic nature out of the hero and makes him a joke. He needed a moment, right from the beginning. For people who don't know who this guy is, he's a Southern commander. He's a Civil War warrior. He's a educated and smart, and he's brave, and he doesn't take shit from anybody. And that's the kind of man that you needed to present to a new audience for the first time, so that when he goes to Mars, he takes that with him. He takes that gravitas with him, and that's
well. Also, for that princess to fall in love with him, he can't be an F-up. You know what I mean? Like you have to be a badass dude to impress that chick, right? And I was like, I didn't see those two, coming together. Like
there wasn't good chemistry between them. No.
Yeah, and she seemed more like functional than he was.
Yeah.
I know they were trying to go, well, he's a man at a time, or he's not out of time, but he's not familiar with there and stuff. But it wasn't like that place was so technically advanced. You know what I mean? Like it was still pretty barbaric. Like there's still like a lot of hostility, fighting, war type stuff.
Yeah. So he's a warrior. He understands war.
Yeah, he would have fit right in. Yeah, he would. And also, just like the Tharks, like is that what the aliens or the
green four-armed
guys?
I thought the comic book, the Gil Kane stuff, and the Dave Cockrum, I thought those designs were way better than the movie. I thought those things would look kind of soft and like too CG.
Definitely. And here's the other reality: is that John Carter has been ripped off for so long. It first came out in the early 1930s. Or early teens. It was like 1912, something like that. The first John Carter book. Yeah, you've seen Lucas and all these other sci-fi things. The the scene, the gladiatorial scene you talked about, we saw that in the first prequel movie of Star Wars. You know, there's so much stuff we've already seen because it had already been ripped off from John Carter that a lot of the stuff seemed, you know, okay, I've seen this.
That's the way I feel about the Phantom, like the Billy Zane stuff too. Like I loved it, but yeah, it's kind of like you've seen a lot of this stuff before, and I think it takes a special director and creative people to really make it feel authentic and original, even though, like you said, it's been aped a million times before. Like, you know, when George was taken from that, George Lucas, it felt original, it felt unique, it felt
right.
You know,
I mean, yeah, he took it from a lot of the
other things,
Saturday morning matinee type things, you know. But
you know, it's just really odd you'd take a movie with that big of a budget, over 200 million, and give it to a first-time director who was an animation director, has no
you're talking
experience
about
directing.
It's Andrew Staten.
Yeah,
Andrew Staten. I thought Pete Docter had something to do with it.
I still liked the movie, but there was just a lot of odd choices they made for someone who didn't know who John Carter was and brought nothing to the movie. I think, Graham, I think you're spot on. It's like this, you know, it's like
it's hard to do.
Yeah.
My buddy Joseph, he was it's like a blessing and a curse. He was blessed enough to get William Gibson's Neuromancer. He got the rights to do William Gibson's Neuromancer, and that is the cyberspace, like that is the foundation of cyberspace, people jacking into the Matrix and all that. But by the time he goes to make it, you got 13th Floor, you got all the Matrix movies, you got all these other things that basically, like Graham says, you borrow from the source material that by the time you go to put it out, you're following, you're not leading. And it's really difficult to make it new without alienating the people that love the thing in the first place.
That's why I always think, not to interrupt, but that's why I always think, like, go back to like when it was made, like do it as a period piece. You know, like John Carter was a period piece, but it didn't feel like it. It wasn't authentic. And also, just to defend my, like, there was too many things going on. There wasn't a clear narrative. He didn't feel like he had a purpose. It didn't feel like it was going anywhere. It just felt like a bunch of random scenes that were thrown together. And I think for like a 2-hour movie, it always, like, I watched that what was it called? The Fall Guy, the movie, you know, that they just made. And it just didn't feel like it was good, but it didn't feel like it was building to anything. I mean, there was a beginning, middle, end, but the narrative didn't feel like from scene to scene, from moment to moment, that it was going somewhere, that it was building to something. It just kind of felt like a lot of random scenes that then eventually got somewhere, but didn't feel like it was earned or that you went along on a journey. And that's kind of how I felt with that.
I thought the ending was very good, but the lead up to it didn't. It's like you lit a firecracker at the end, but you just had this really long fuse through the rest of the movie.
Yeah. And like Fall Guy was like that for me, because it's like it felt like, and this is weird, we're all action guys, but it felt like the action scenes were going on too long. Like to the point where you were losing the narrative, where you were losing the story.
It gets boring. I mean, it's weird to say that, but action sequence can get boring if they go on too long.
Yeah, it's like that fight scene in They Live, the longest fight scene in on film. It's, you know, it's just so damn long. It's like, come on, stop. We get it. Put the glasses on.
And also, like
put the fucking glasses on. Let's go.
When I work on black and white or like action comics that I do, I always try to think, like, I'm going to put these characters in a unique setting. So every one of the fights has a different area. So by putting them in a different location, then the fight is uniquely different. And then use the objects or the stuff that's in that area, you know, because then everything doesn't seem like it's the same. You know, like, oh, there's another fight in the apartment, or there's another fight on the street, or another fight on a rooftop. It's like there's various different locations at these fights, and do like Jackie Chan or those older, like where they would use props from the location, you know, a refrigerator,
like a chair, or
like
frying pan, you know.
Movies like Speed, where, you know, you take the chase. We've seen it you know, in The Rock. We've seen it in Bullet. We've seen it in tons of
Yeah,
things.
thousands of times, but you put a
when you
twist
go,
on it.
yeah, when you go, oh no, but there's also a bomb that if you slow down, you're going to explode. You care more, you know.
Well,
and it's the
there's so
same.
much at stake in that movie, and when you get put,
Right.
there's got to be something at stake in the action sequences, or they're just mindless action sequences.
That's it, right there. That's it.
And that's one of the criticisms I had of Furioso, was that this long, extended, really cool visual scene where these renegades are attacking the big tanker that's being driven by this dude who you don't know who the guy is. You've never seen him before, so you can't really root for him because you don't know nothing about him.
Right.
And then Furiosa's there, but you know this is a prequel, so she doesn't die, so she's not really in danger, right? So you sit there, and I got bored watching it. It was one of the coolest things as a sequence, but there was nothing at stake. So you just sit there and go, okay, can we move this along and get to the point?
Sometimes
kind of thing?
it's a character too, you know. Think about Indiana Jones. When,
well, if you love the character, yeah, you're concerned.
Well, no, but I'm not just saying that. Like, I'm talking about like meeting a villain that you've only known for a few seconds on screen. When Indiana Jones has to fight that bald dude before he gets the plane.
Yeah.
Just that guy taking a hit and kind of, you know, smiling it off. Like it adds these little spices. Like if it was just a rock 'em, sock 'em, punch him out, take the plane.
But Dan, there's other stuff going on because, you know, Miriam's getting trapped in there. Then
and it's going round and round.
Right. And the gas gets poured over when she shoots,
Yes.
you know, so there's so much at stake. That fight scene is just like ancillary to what's actually going on.
Well,
and that makes it, you know, more interesting.
Otherwise, like that, it's that like that movie Sucker Punch, the Zach. I know, right? Like
never saw it.
When you freeze frames of parts of it, you're like, man, that's so cool looking. That is not a watchable movie for my taste. But
that's what I heard. That's why I never watched it.
Yeah. But it's got some really
beat down. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's got some really cool sequences and cool eye candy, but no.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, where are we?
All right, do we want to do another round, or are we good now?
I think I'm good.
I got to share a couple things still.
All right.
All right.
Now, this doesn't exist anymore, but I'm sure you guys heard the story. Go ahead and share that, Graham.
Oh, yeah.
If this existed in its entirety, this would be my number one.
What was his name? Bruce?
Yeah.
Bruce?
But did you hear that story that some guys found part of this shark like in a pile of wood back on the side of some big it wasn't even a studio lot. It was just like a big warehouse someplace, and this was out in the junk. I mean, within the last 10 years, they found what was left of Bruce just laying there in a bunch of garbage.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Did they find Quint inside?
Huh?
Was Quint inside?
Yes, that was a shocking thing. His skeletal remains were still in there.
That would have been great.
But they
what's the name of the ship, the boat that they were on?
The Orca.
The Orca.
Orca. I think that was like in the back lot of Universal or something, and Steven Spielberg was back there, and it was just decaying. It was just rotting. So he actually spent the money for them to restore that. So if somebody found this Bruce, they could probably restore it.
Well, I mean, it had to be made of something that could handle that salt water, but it's still.
I've never even seen this picture of it before. That's cool.
Yeah, well, they did they had one that was open on one side and one that was open on the other side, so they could get the different shots. And then they had I think there was a different one when it came out of the water. So I think they had 3 of them. I may be mistaken, but I know they at least had 2. So
and none of them worked.
Yeah, none of them worked.
That's right.
And then,
you know what's great is
that
shot of Spielberg? Isn't there a shot of him like laying in the mouth?
Yeah, in the mouth.
And then you realize, like, because you look at this picture, you think, it's just a normal shark. That thing's massive. Like that thing is really big.
It's like 25 feet long, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, 25 feet. The thing is, it was originally 30 feet, and they looked at it and said, that's just too big. It looks like a whale.
Yeah.
And 20 feet was too small, so they kind of compromised and made it 25, and just right.
It's the Goldilocks shark.
Yep. Okay, I got
thing
one
would
more.
fit.
I got one more, and this still exists because I think
Well,
I
wait, I have to ask you, Aaron. Okay, you have this thing, fantasy. Your dream comes true. You have it. What would you do with it?
I
Would
would.
you
Well, now I've
like-
got money. I've got money, Art. Right. So
Yeah.
what I'm doing is I'm building a sort of like museum around it, and then I'm
Okay.
charging admission. So people come in and see the shark, and I get it so that it was working, so the jaws would open and things like that, and then just use it as
Close with it. You can sit it in its mouth and stuff.
yeah, exactly. Make a little money on it, but still have it.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
There we go. The Gorn.
I think this suit still exists because I was searching around. It doesn't look like it's in great shape. What I saw,
Yeah.
it was in a glass case someplace. But come on, how can you not want that?
I will
Ugh.
be swift and merciful.
You're going to be merciful and quick. He might be able to be merciful, but this guy's never going to be quick.
Never gonna be quick.
You know, it's like the body doesn't look bad, but the head is just so goofy.
Oh, I love it, man. I love the whole thing.
Oh, it's so goofy.
For a 1966, 67 television
Yeah.
show, come on. That's cutting edge, baby.
I guess.
I shot a film when I was at SC right there where that Gorn is standing. And every time we walked across there, I went, "Do you guys know this is where the Gorn was?" And they're like, "Shut
Of course,
up."
every time.
Every single time.
There's a Gelson's.
They're
Let's
like,
have a
Aaron, this is
moment.
why
Let's
you're
have
not
a moment
invited to
for
the
the
parties with the girls.
Yeah.
There's a Gelson's in Los Feliz on Hyperion, and it's where the old Disney studio was. And this was when I was like hyper fixated on the Neil Gabler Disney book, and I visited the Disney's house and where everything I could, but you know, the Hyperion studio is gone, and I'm standing in produce, and I'm like, you know, this is where ink and paint was when this was a Disney studio. And I go over to the meet, and I'm like, they did sound over here. You know?
Like, what? Look at these
Yeah.
tire tracks back here.
Yeah, this retarded bald man walking around talking delusional, but
Yeah.
yeah.
This that tree back there, fake. It's not real.
Yeah.
Oh, for real? I
Oh,
thought it
tree.
was
Come
there.
on.
Prop tree. Sorry. I had the camera set up over to the left of him and was shooting across this area right here.
What were you
So for a
making?
couple
What was
shots.
it?
So what was the
your film
subject
about?
matter?
It was a futuristic kind of road warrior without the cars.
So budget.
Well, you know, it's a film. It was a student film, but yeah, it was great. That's Vasquez Rocks out is the name of the park out there.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
if you're like
Vasquez.
Valencia, you go. It's Highway 14, the old Antelope Valley Highway. If you're familiar with Southern California, and just go east, take you right by it.
I've shot in Joshua Tree before. That was fun, but never anything as cool as the Star Trek stuff.
So there you go. There's that's all the money I would waste. If I had actually unlimited
go.
money, I'd buy a Frazetta painting. Would be a
Yes.
really good
I
But-
would want what we'd probably have to fight over the cat lady.
No,
You know,
dude. I want the
number
mammoth one.
I want
want
the
the
one
back of
that's
the
got
Stone
an
Age.
inch of paint on it. Who of you told me about that? They saw it in person and it's got like an inch of paint.
Oh, with
Oh,
the
I
green
did.
the moss.
Yeah, it was you, Graham. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. Speaking of grails,
It's modeling clay.
is it modeling clay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and
I wonder
laid
what
in-
his.
This
wonder
is
what
mine.
is-
That's the one I want to get right there. That's what I get.
That's
right
a good one. That's a
That
good
is.
one.
There. So.
Somebody mentioned this as a prop. That would be so cool. The giant ant.
Oh yeah.
You'd have to go in the same building with the Jaws shark. You know? It's
Yeah,
too big to
yeah.
put in your house.
I would put that on my roof. You know what I mean? I'd rather.
Yeah.
Just coming up over from the backyard.
That's
you know?
right.
Yeah. And I'd have that sound effect, you know, that chirping sound effect that whenever they would show up, you know, you hear that.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That's great.
That's cool. That's cool.
But I got this from Excalibur,
Wow.
Oh, good Lord.
the old movie.
You're a
Was that
helmet
screen
fan.
used, Art?
Yeah, there were 3 made. Yeah, this was screen used. So this is Lancelot's
lightning.
helmet from Excalibur.
Wow.
Excalibur! And I got it signed by the artist.
Oh wow.
His name is Terry English. He built all the armor. Him and his assistant. This is aluminum. So this was hand built. He also restored. I think he's past RIP, but he restored all the Queen's armor. He's British, obviously, and so he would restore and maintain all the Queen's armor in the castles, and he did the Marines armor for Aliens. So he's worked on quite a bit of films and stuff like that. So this is pretty cool. I don't have to worry about this thing rotting or anything.
Yeah, right. Very cool.
Pretty cool. And
have you worn it?
He was knighted, and there's he's got a stamp or something like his oh, it's right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let me put you up on solo.
Like a number 7.
It's a T. It's
like a T, like T-Bear, but it's the same shield shape
with your name.
Black flag. Oh, look at that!
Wow,
that's cool. It's signed and everything.
1980. He didn't want to part with it. It was the last one. I think there were 3 screen helmets made, and he didn't want to part with it. But he could see like I was completely geeking out over it, so he said it needs to find a good home, so he sold it to me. He also he has like a planet, or had, this was years and years ago, he had a whole slew of like the British version of Planet Hollywood in London. He had like, there was like 3 or 4 of these restaurant themed, like with props and stuff, and yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Hey, thank you, Swiggy Cod, for the $5 super chat. He came in late. Any of you old heads say the Klaatu suit from the day the Earth stood still?
No,
I saw that. Cool. Actually, when I was looking, I saw it. I don't think I still have the tab open though.
Somebody brought up in the chat the chair from the Time Machine, the 1960 version Time Machine with Rod Steiger. Not Rod Steiger. Rod.
There were a few of those made. The one that the prop I would want is the Nautilus from the Disney.
Oh, that would be cool. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that thing, it's like your shark. I think is about 20 feet long or whatever it is, but it's still in good shape. I've seen it.
They have a mini model of that that's at the Dive Museum in Isla Morada, which is in the Florida Keys. There's a dive museum there, and some guy made replicas, actual working diving helmets of the design from the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
No kidding.
That actually work. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have a mini model of the ship.
Yeah.
Too?
Yeah.
So how big when you say?
I would say it's probably 4 foot.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one I saw, I mean, it was at least 15 feet. I mean, it would have taken up the whole wall. It was big.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one I saw it at like Disney. They had it at the Disney Studios. Like one thing about like what Dan was saying, like that, what is the Frank G. Wells building or whatever? They have like in the lobby, it's almost like a museum. They have like cabinets and stuff. So they have all kinds of props, and they had like Mary Poppins, her outfit, the animatronic like umbrella, the little bird head, and all that stuff. Pretty cool. Yeah. And then they have an archives area there that just has all the licensed stuff in it. Like, so I guess it couldn't be everything, but it's like from a certain time to a certain time. And they do let people go in there. And so there's like all the books, coloring books, like toys, just everything that they've manufactured.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, that auction I was talking about earlier that had the Pepe and the T-Rex head, they actually had a clapper from Jaws. One of the,
that would be cool. That would be a cool prop.
Yeah, and they said, they put those estimates on there. They figured it would go between $2,000 and $5,000, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to bid on this. It went for over 20 grand.
Of course,
just for a clapper.
Yes, I was like,
dude, damn. Jaws fans, no pun, are rabid. They are.
That would be.
That's not a pun because Jaws sharks don't get rabid.
I know.
How is that a pun? Because there's biting involved.
There's a lot.
He said rabid.
Yeah. Why you got to be so great and white, Andy?
Oh,
See what he did there?
He is as God made him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, the Iron Giant. If
Well,
there
yeah,
was
but
actually, you know, because that was animated, but
Yeah, I have the toy. I have the Iron Giant
Yeah.
toy somewhere, and I've
I
also
got
got
it
the remember Rusty and Big
yeah, I've
Boy?
got the big Rusty over there, the one that
Yeah,
talks.
it opens up and you can
Yeah,
sit the
It says for the love
what about
of
what about Hellboy's hand?
that would be cool.
You know, the big fist. Big
Yeah.
I heard that thing was very, very brittle. Like the first one that they made for the first movie.
Really?
Like you couldn't bump it, like those fingers would break off.
Already?
Because I guess it was articulated so you could kind of move it from within the thing.
Yeah.
Kind of move the fingers and stuff, but it was very, very fragile. So
when I went to Legacy Effects Studio and my son was working there,
That's cool.
they had this giant, like two guys it had to be two guys to fit into it, but they made this giant troll, right? And they had it on a rack, in the back, and I went, what is that? And they made it specifically just to go to San Diego Comic-Con, and they were walking around out in the street in it. And I don't remember ever seeing it because I was inside working and I didn't get but that was the only purpose it was made for. And so I don't know how well they made it, but it was sitting back there on the rack. And I was like, dude, if I had a big enough truck, I'd take that home with me right now. It was just this giant troll. It was so cool.
Yeah. It's like when you see those R2D2, those guys that make those things from scratch. You see them around the con and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you, I was so tempted at one con just to buy that sucker. And once again, it's always like you could, even if you had the money, it's like, what would you do with it?
What would you do with it? Right.
That's the thing. Like for me, like if I could justify like what I would really do with it, I think I'd have more junk. That's why I don't.
Yeah.
How about we talk about Art? You and I could talk about the movie props we've seen in the studio from Norm Ratman. Remember, didn't he have like a Cylon and a Stormtrooper?
I bought from that guy too. What was his name? James Latta.
I guess maybe.
Wait, Norm had a full-size Stormtrooper outfit
and a full-size Cylon.
We call that image royalties.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
He did. It wasn't an original helmet, but the suit, the Stormtrooper suit, was original.
No
and that thing was a small fortune. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's the guy was James Latta. That's where I was going to buy that firing pulse rifle from Aliens. He brought it into the office there.
I might have bought that tricorder off of him.
Yeah. And the thing is, I heard he got into some trouble because he would buy and sell for Planet Hollywood, and he used to say like he worked at the Warner Brothers archives. So like these things that I have like authenticity, like certificates. But to be honest, I don't know how he got that stuff.
Did he go all Gil Kane on it, or?
Yeah, I was going to say the same way Gil got artwork.
Yeah. Go into the old prop room and take a few things and head out to
props, my boy. I'll get you some props.
Yeah, there was one thing he had, and it was the Green Hornet from the '66. It was like the cane that was like it had like a sonic kind of thing to it, and you got and blow a building or like a door open or something like that. And he had that, so I could justify it at the time. And then, of course, like the Bruce Lee throwing hornets.
Oh, man.
I wanted to get one of those. I went to the Bruce Lee auction at State to try to get one of those things. And like you, Aaron, I was priced out within seconds. So that
you think you got it, and then suddenly you realize you're just completely out of your league.
Yeah, I can't afford this. Yeah.
How about this? That would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be in your backyard. You got to have a pretty big backyard.
Was that actually a prop, or was that a painting? I mean, was that actually a prop?
I'm not sure. I always thought it was a painting.
I thought it was a matte painting.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
But there's
and if it was real, it was probably a miniature. Yeah.
Might have been a combination.
The other thing I'd want is like there's a guy I follow, Irving Gelb. He has like he sells artifacts, like a fan letter, a reply from Joan Crawford, like that kind of thing, or canceled check from Clark Gable, like those sort of things.
Oh yeah.
And I love that shit because, like, to me, like, you know, Andy, I showed you, Andy. I picked up these Bucenas.
You only showed me the one. I didn't know you got two of them.
I found the second one, dude. Look at that. You had left. Look at the other one I picked up.
Oh, yeah. No, I know.
Yeah.
Same price. I take it.
Yeah, same price because they're unsigned. But to know that John Buscema touched this, it's not just that he drew it, but this came off the same pad, right? So this was it was John Buscema's, and like that's cool to me.
Yeah,
you know, I want a Bruce
history.
I want the piece of an artifact.
You know what sucks about all this stuff, that all this junk we have, and we think it's like, oh man, it's so cool, right? None of our family thinks it's cool.
I know. They're like, they can't wait to sell it.
We go right in the dumpster.
Yeah,
no, I told my wife, I said, something happens to me, don't just have a yard sale.
Right.
Get somebody in here that knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
exactly.
What is this Errol
pretty
Flynn?
well off.
Who's dad? Who was dad's in my, you know, my kids? What was Errol? What's an Errol Flynn? What's this?
Yeah.
You know, if you think about it, like, you guys got great comic book collections. What would be cool is, I know it's a little macabre because I'm talking about after we pass, but you know how like Nicolas Cage sold his collection, right? Like if they go, this is
the T-Bear
collection, or this is Aaron Lopresti or Andy Smith's collection, you know, like that's cool. Like it goes up for auction or something like that, and your name's attached to it.
Dude,
I think that would be kind of cool.
Elvis's comics are still in his attic.
Well, he should get him out of his attic, because from what I understand, moving to the south here,
he can't get off the toilet
or anything.
Yeah,
right.
No, but that stuff's still up there. Which I mean, can you imagine just being able, even if you were in a clean suit, and being able to just go, man, the King's comics, man. That's so.
You know what?
If they're in his attic in Memphis, you know, they're probably moldy and turned.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're in Graceland. Yeah, you might be right. They might, but even still, that moldy box or whatever he kept them in, it's still Elvis's comics. Look at that art. Art's like, I got this foamy thing that's turning to ash by day, but I love it.
Yeah, I love
you know?
Yeah.
Well,
you know, you're talking about autographs.
Like I have Captain America first appearance in the Avengers. I can't touch it. I finally, you know, put it in a bag, like a good bag. But I went to, you know, just see what. I haven't looked at my comics in years. This is when we were packing up to move here. I touched that thing, and I'm not kidding. It was like the cow. That cover turned to ash. Like it literally, like I did it cautiously, and I just touched the corner, and it's like it fell apart in my hand.
Chipping, dude. They call that.
You are seriously hurting Aaron right now.
I know.
I can feel his pain.
My Avengers 4 is cased securely, so.
What's the grade, Aaron? What's the grade?
6.5.
Yeah. What were you saying, Graham? You said signed checks, autographs.
Gary Cooper was, I think it was Gary Cooper, was notoriously cheap. And like when he would travel cross country and gas up his car and stuff, he wouldn't pay cash. He'd write checks because he knew that the people wouldn't cash them because they kept them as autographs.
Yes. Picasso would do the same thing. He would pay for his deal by signing an autograph.
Yeah,
but
so
you know what? I never knew that. I never knew that's why Picasso did it. But there's a bunch of napkins and stuff with Picasso's like name on it, and that's why, right? So he didn't have to pay the check.
Oh, dude. I mean,
I tried that once, and they charged me double.
They
so
said,
again.
And they made you wash the dishes.
And they made
I was going to say they took him in the back and said, "Get the washing, buddy."
I want to tell you, you brought up the thing about, you know, selling like Graham's collection, the collection of Graham Nolan, whatever. I got some of my Golden Age books graded a few years ago, and I had them put on the label from the personal collection of Aaron Lopresti. So
there you go.
Yeah, I got
but then he got him appraised, and they're like, "Oh, well, this is like 15% less."
Yeah, I know it worked in the opposite direction.
What do you mean a 4 or 5? This is not a 4 or 5. This is a 6.2. Come on,
come on!
I'm cracking it open and resubmitting.
Somebody, Avenger 2 in the chat said that that Andy Kaufman snuck away from the Graceland tour to shit in the toilet or piss in the toilet, but he said that's crazy.
Oh
yeah.
Claim
That's
to
when he
fame, man.
died, man. He shit on the.
I mean, think about it. Like, if you took the Graceland tour and you knew you could sneak away to hit that can, you'd do it.
Oh,
Oh,
bro,
I
I'd
wouldn't.
actually eat a hunk of burning love right before I went on the Graceland tour. Just so I
And
Well,
then,
could-
it's also like the Beatles when they were brought in the day to meet the Queen and whatever. They smoked a big old fatty before they went, or they did it in the building. I forget what it was, but they got high before they met her.
rock and roll.
And
Rock
30
and
or
roll.
40 years later, she's knighting them, you know?
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah, Sir
So
Paul.
Yes,
That
Sir
is
Paul.
so funny.
Sir Ringo.
There's a hole in me pocket.
Sirloin of beef.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh man,
Cirrhosis of
Killigrew.
liver.
Yeah.
Willie
But I have
Mays.
to say this, Graham. There, I think it's next month or the end of the summer. Corgi is reissuing the Batmobiles in the original
saw that.
packaging.
But
Yeah.
are they reissuing the Bat boat with it?
Is that
I don't
signed?
think so. I think it's just the car for now, and they have two versions. They have like a matte black and a shiny black, and I think it's like $49. So it's not too bad.
See,
Is it gonna be
want
that
the Bat boat,
size?
too.
I guess.
want the trailer with the Bat boat.
Yeah, I think it's the same. It's like it's the original casting and everything.
Right.
They should have the Batman.
Yeah.
You can kind of see
Yeah,
him on
the
the
Gold
bottom.
Mining Casino
Yeah.
Batman drawing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. I
Dan,
love
is
my
that
Corgi
Willie
Batman.
Mays picture signed? Frega.
No, that Willie Mays died today.
How old was
He
he?
did?
he? Oh.
Say hey, Willie Mays. I thought he's still alive.
93. I mean, nice run. 93. But
That's
yeah,
a
he
hell of
did-
a
he
run.
Wow.
passed away
The
today.
Say Hey Kid, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
my dad loved that guy. Like, he would say catch it, like I guess he could do all kinds of like fun catches, like basket catches, behind his back catches, all this stuff. And my dad would like throw, like when I was young, he'd throw these like lobs up, catch it behind your back, do this, do that. I go, say hey, Dad.
Yeah. He died. I mean, he played for the Giants before I was born, but like he was, Bay Area legend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He ended his career with the Mets, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because I wrote a book report on him for
Nice.
school when I was a kid because he was playing. I think he was playing for the Mets then. It was the late '60s, early '70s, and I had to read this book about him, and I thought he was a really fascinating guy. It was really cool.
One of the like cool things we were talking about signed. I wish I would have thought of it sooner, but when I was a kid, I would write to the president, and the president of the day. Well, I'll let you get this.
Cool.
Oh, it's not a super chat, but it's pretty cool. Marcus Kelligre's got a signed ball. My dad got it when he spoke to our little league.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's really cool. But it's I wrote to Richard Nixon.
Nah.
So I got a letter, a reply, and it was from Rose. She was brought up in the Watergate tapes. It was his personal secretary. I forget her last name, but she sent me a letter. So then I was like, as a kid, it's like one of those things like you say a joke and then you keep saying the joke because you think like people are going to keep laughing. You do things over and over again. So I was like, well, if I got this, I'm going to see what else I could get. So I wrote another letter and I asked him about his family. I was like, so tell me a little bit about your family, whatever. And so she wrote back, but this is supposedly from him.
Mhm.
And on the book, they sent me a book of his family. It was like the book of his presidency, and his family was in there. And it's like Pat Nixon and all this stuff. And then it's signed to me, and I was like, oh my gosh.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
He was the Yorba Linda guy, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I did go to the Nixon Library, and he's buried right there along with Pat at the old family house. I guess where he grew up. The house is still there.
That's cool.
And,
His book in the arena is excellent about his time and his career in politics and stuff. And he takes the title from the phrase of Teddy Roosevelt, a man in the arena. It's really, really a good read. If you want to read about Richard Nixon, he talks about Watergate and what he knew, what he didn't know, and some of you know, some of the.
I find it interesting. Like he had great, like, I think some of the best relations with communist China, and so there's always like these pros and cons with a lot of these.
Art, what Spock said, only Nixon can go to China. So Star Trek 6, I believe. Yeah, he said that in Star Trek 6.
That's funny. but also, like, he was there as vice president, like the new Tomorrowland at the Anaheim Disneyland. Yeah, he and the family were there. And one of the things is the guy that designed the monorail, Bob Gurr. I know all these guys, and so he said, I want to be the one that drives the monorail with the vice president, and show it off and everything. I'm like, oh, okay. And so as soon as Richard Nixon got in there with his kids, whatever, he closed the door and he took off. Well, I guess the security, like his security, is always supposed to travel with him. Mm-hmm. So I guess in the way they look at that is like it's kidnapping. Like it's like weird, like, laws. And yeah, I guess they could have put him behind bars if they really wanted to, but he took off without his security. And so then he found out later that he had broke some kind of federal law or some craziness like that.
Oops.
You don't unsecurely just take dick anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's right.
You gotta know when and where to take dick.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not a crook.
I'm not a crook.
Have the proper precautions with dick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was he the one too that, like, that speech, like, I'm not a crook? I think that was done at the in Florida at the Disney hotel, the Contemporary. I think. Yeah. So
could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
They used to have a
guys,
comic
we've gone 2 hours now. I think we should probably wrap her up here.
Yes.
Okay.
Some people got to eat.
Yeah. Me.
But I want to thank everybody in the chat for tuning in. Next week we go all the way back to Aaron.
Oh,
Aaron.
Pressure's on. Okay.
Aaron. Yeah.
Well, we haven't done a game show in a while. I missed that. I know it's a lot of work, but I'm just throwing it out there.
We know it's a lot of work, and you don't have anything else on your plate now that Kick Carter's wrapped up.
Yeah,
So
I like every time Aaron hosts. I like whenever you guys host. I learn the most.
That's right. And you don't have to do anything. You just show up.
that's right.
Right. That is right.
No, not really, because with these shows, there's usually homework. So
That's true.
There's usually some work that has to go in.
Not a ton.
As soon as Billy finds out it's a game show, he's doing homework.
Excuse me.
Right.
Oh yeah.
What?
He does. Thank you. He does. That Billy, man, he studies when he uses game show, man. He's ready to win.
He's a
game.
competitive.
It's just a game.
That's
Just a game.
It's just a game.
Anybody going to Jersey? We'll see you in a couple days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't forget your Hawaiian shirt, your cigars. There should be plenty of whiskey there. I'm going to bring solo cups so we have plenty to pass around.
Yeah, we got to stop by that liquor store again. That one we went to that had those really fun bottles when we were up there last.
Oh yeah.
We went to.
It was on that little that small little street.
Yeah. I'd love to hit that.
What
place.
What time are you guys getting in on Friday?
I don't get in till almost midnight because my plane lands at like 11:30. So Friday's going to be a pain.
So how about you?
Yeah,
Andy?
I'll be there. We'll be there like around 2:00.
I could PayPal you like some money to buy a bottle. You know what I'm saying? But this is all
What time
off
do you
topic.
get in?
Yeah.
Graham, when do you get in?
Depends on what time I hit the road, but I'm trying to get in there around 2 to 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I'll be at the Washington State SummerCon this weekend. So Friday, Saturday.
Oh yeah, no one cares.
Yeah, I know, but I just
Everyone
All the
cares.
cool kids will be in New Jersey this weekend, Aaron.
yeah, I
That's
know.
true.
Well, I'd rather take a 2.5-hour drive than a flight across country. So
Oh.
All right. Well, it's going to be a fun weekend, guys. Can't wait to see everybody that's going. And, tune in next week for Aaron's show, and we'll be seeing you soon.
And Aaron, what's your topic on Graybeards tomorrow?
Oh,
We have to create a new character, but the category has not been determined yet. It's between
is there one in the
science
lead?
fiction, or barbarians, or
Nice.
And everybody, the pre-launch sign-up page for Oodles of Doodles and other stuff too is up. Hopefully it's in the description, and click on that. Go sign up for a free exclusive print, and we're going to be launching this bad boy at the end of the month. So here you go. Art book. Art by art.
by art. Perfect.
Art.
Okay, guys. Have a great night.